Thank you. This has been very enlightening to me personally. And I want to say that I am third generation American, and certainly from my European background, Jewish background, we also came over here with hopes. You know, our parents, my grandparents were shopkeepers, and then my parents got an education and they had higher expectations of us. So it's a similar travel for many cultures, many non-Western cultures, okay? But one of the things I thought I wanted to mention that wasn't apparent to me was most of us expect our children to go to college, most of us. Now, so the issue is, if you have a young man that goes to college, at some point he has to learn how to use a washing machine. He has to learn where he has to learn where he can obtain food, whether or not he cooks it or he gets it somewhere else. So my question is, at the point where he has finished college and maybe possibly going on to a marital situation, does he simply decide he's not going to do any of those things anymore? Or is there an expectation from his wife, hey, you did your own laundry for 4 years, can't you pick up your pants from the floor and put them in the washing machine? Does that end? Because I know in some cultural groups, when the man becomes a part of a marital group, regardless of what the woman does all day, working or not, she's still expected to clean up after him. Like somebody was saying, he couldn't even pick up his glass and take it into the kitchen anymore. Does that happen a lot in your culture?
I think that is the traditional, that was the model, right? Is that there was an understanding that, you know, they did these things, but part of it was that it mattered less what the woman was doing because she wasn't doing all of those other things, right? So that was her primary role, and the support role was supposed to be that she didn't have to worry about where the sustenance for the family was going to come from, right? And now we've seen that we're doing this, and yet you're saying, well, you're going to try to do both then, and that's kind of what we were addressing, I think. So we sort of touched on that a little bit. Does anybody want to make a comment to answer that question? And thank you.
So it depends. You know, your question is, does this happen in Indian culture? In Indian culture, in India, it still happens. In United States, could it happen? Yes, it happens. Say if I was married to a millionaire and I could afford a domestic help, I don't care if, you know, my husband picks up the glass or no. So I think everything is very situational. So in India, it still happens, but we get plenty of domestic help in India. And people really don't put so much emphasis on these kind of things anymore. But in the US as well, there are certain families, it still happens. But they can afford help, and that's fine. You know, when the stress is caused only when everything falls on one person. Right? And I think that was the goal of this discussion. Did I answer your question?
No, that's pretty much it. I remember when my dad had employment issues and my mother finally had to go to work. At that point, they realized some of the domestic work would need to be done by paid help in the house. Even though it was only once every week or two, at least the cleaning was getting done, the laundry was getting done. My mother was still expected to put dinner on the table every single night. You know, later on it became kind of a joke. What my mother made for dinner was reservations. You know?
That works too. Jobs to do that might have looked traditional in old times to your mother doing it only. Would that be something that you would be shocked by, or is it something you would pick up? You would easily be able to say, I can do that. I can do dishes, I can do laundry, I can do...
And like I said earlier, it's the thing that for modernly, families should strive to share the household work together. So I wouldn't be shocked if I was told to do the laundry or put washer dryer, as my dad says, every day. So it just makes sense for everyone to share the workload.
I think sharing the work makes a
different subject, and a common and pressing problem is with the advancing and rapidly increasing technology. iPhone, television is the biggest stress between the generations, right? What is your opinion with a 3-year-old looking for the iPhone and information, and working parents, they don't have the time to explain, and a Google mother has all the answers. And I want you to, give your opinion. What is the time, or what the parents should tell the kids, or the kids should tell the parents? This is the effective use of the vehicle, because which is necessary for rapidly increasing knowledge to artificial intelligence. The machines are going to control whether we are going to be controlled by the machine or we are going to be the control. For that one, there should be a time. So, what's your answer?
I think that there's a time and place for everything. Of course, technology is going to be used and definitely will be used and incorporated as a big part of our culture in the future. So children do need to understand how to use it, but it's using it in the right manner and the right time, which we need to understand. So obviously there's some kids, like the kids over there that were on their phones earlier, not always paying attention.
Dialogue.
It's just understanding when there is the need to be using it.
Activity that so some kids are on social media and some kids are texting while others might be reading a book on the Kindle. And so there's different types of ways you can use technology.
You can't always assume that they're using it the same way.
Yes.
Yes. I'm going to just chime in here really quickly, and I've had several opportunities, as Jagdish Bhai said, about having families come together and doing trips together. And I will tell you, I have several photographs of the kids all out doing something and all the grandparents sitting on the table with their iPhones in front of them. So don't for 1 minute think that it's just the kids who do this, because it is not. I can tell you that for a fact. So,
I can talk about myself. After I got the iPhone some 10 years ago, and that too, I was really, against it. I said, why do I need a telephone? I got a home landline, that's good enough. But then my brother convinced me, said, no, why you should have a telephone. So, actually, I used that telephone first time when I was in the airport in San Diego, I think it was. And we had to meet our friend, and we didn't know whether they are coming to pick us up or not. But since I had the phone, I could contact him and he could contact me. So that was a tremendous thing for me, really. I really enjoyed that. But then I think I'm getting too many things on my phone now. Too many junk stuff and all that. And I don't know how to remove that. So,
we'll get you a teenager to give you a class.
So for that, I'm going to have one of the gurus teach me what to do now. But I tell you, it's tremendous. This iPhone is unbelievable. I'm still having some problem yesterday. I could not send you that bio because I couldn't use this phone.
Priyesh, I'm going to turn that over to you.
I think the biggest cause of stress for me as a parent was at what point do I hand over technology or devices to my child. And I had vowed I wouldn't give them devices until 8th grade. And in 3rd grade, we started getting these letters for device usage, and if your kids are bringing devices to the school. I'm like, they're already sending device usage policies in 3rd grade. So come 5th grade, I said, okay, if I gave in because they use technology in school, it's fine.
Asha?
Yeah, so a few years ago, let's say when I was in 3rd and 4th grade, people started getting phones, and it was a thing, oh my god, you had a phone. And so then when in 5th grade came around, and I started seeing kindergartners having some phones too. And I didn't even have like a phone, and I was like, what's happening? And now in 7th grade, almost 75% of kids from like middle school have a phone, and they've even gotten to the point where the school has an assigned computer for each individual student. And so we pick it up at the start of the day and return at the end of the day. So it's basically like our personal phone or device.
So I just want to end, I thank you so much for that question. I think, brings up a whole other series of topics that we may be able to cover in another opportunity. I want to thank Spirit and Place again for allowing us to be part of this wonderful event. And if you have your forms that you could fill out for giving the feedback to Spirit and Place, that would be really helpful. I'm also going to extend an invitation to any of you who have not come to the temple before. If you've not visited and you would like to come in and see the worship space and take a short tour, I'm not going to be able to stay for as long as a full tour, but I would be happy to accommodate anybody who'd like to stay. So it'd take about half an hour, and we'll walk you through the space and give you a sense of the basics of Hinduism. So anybody who's interested, come and see me afterwards. Otherwise, thank you all so much for participating. You were a great audience. I want to thank my panelists, all of them. You guys were unbelievable. You guys did a fantastic job. I'm so excited to have seen this come together, and it's really not easy to sit up there and be pointed at and picked on and asked to comment, and I have to say this group was amazing from top to bottom, so it's just absolutely perfect.